In this part of the video, we're talking about the unusual shed. We found this shed on the property, and this is a model of it right here. Oh yeah, it's a little hokey. We'll agree with that. Not exactly a perfect model. We bought this model for $1.98 on eBay and modified it to look exactly like the shed that's out there. Well, not exactly, but close enough, so you can get an idea how it moved, because this shed was on rails. It actually opened up and moved back to expose what was in it. And that's pretty strange stuff, to think that you move a whole building because whatever's mounted here can't move. That's pretty wild. Now, at first we thought it was possibly a .50 caliber gun. That would make sense. Hiding in plain view, a little farmer's shed out there that's about 15 feet by 16 feet approximately, that moves out on rails. Maybe. Okay, but if you mounted a .50 caliber on here, you'd shoot the roof of the shed right off if you had to turn that way, so that would only give you a shooting distance this way. That doesn't make any sense. It has to be something else that for some reason was put there. The shed was purposely put there, and it had to aim this way, or it didn't need to aim at all. But it had these big mounting area on it here, this big cement mounting area. It had this bolts that we can see. So we'll zoom in on this shed, we'll show you it, and give you a little idea how it looked, show you how now it's all crushed down into almost nothingness, but it's still leaving a little evidence there. And we'd like to know more about what this is. It's a real mystery piece. We just don't have any idea. We'd love to do a second part on this. People to email us, tell us what they think this is. We'll research it out. Again, we've already been told maybe it's a .50 caliber machine gun mount, and I don't think so, because we looked out there and no .50 caliber machine gun mounts were made like this, and again, it doesn't fit. It was something else, something a little more mysterious. Maybe it had something to do with all the data cables coming into it. I'm sure it had to collect information, or maybe that went out to a radar, which would then aim it. But according to all our blueprints and everything we found, there's no radar directly near this at all. It would have to be a long, long ways away. It seemed kind of wouldn't fit for this particular situation back in those days. Tell us. Watch the rest of the video. Okay, we're back on section of the map, which we'll show you here and phase it in. Essentially, this is a shed that's been torn down. It's an interesting shed because, as we said before, this shed is on rails. It actually can come apart, probably into two sections. Plus, it has a door too, so it's got multiple things that it does. We're gonna take a close look. I'm gonna grab the camera and I'm just gonna show some things and talk through them. We can't really move all this metal. It's just not very easy to try to move. We're trying to tear apart some of it, so maybe easier just to take the camera and look in. Because this is kind of a mystery piece. This is the kind of piece we maybe need some audience participation to try to figure out maybe what this was. We'll give you all the facts. We'll give you all the information. We know it's not identified as to what it is on any of the blueprints that we have. It's just in one place they show a shed with a rail, but they don't give it a name, and there's no name on this. But obviously it did something, because it's got a lot of power coming to it, or communication components. It's got a base to it and everything. So that's what we're going to try to figure out. We're going to let you help. We're going to look for everyone's comments to kind of come in and see who can figure out what this shed may have been. Okay, this is the rails. These extend out 25 feet. Rails on both sides of this shed. And if we look inside the shed, there's a number of electrical panels, switches with keys, as you can see. If we go in here, we can't seem to move this massive amount of stuff on top of us. Here we have this cement structure with bolts on it. You see the bolts. So it was holding something very heavy. I mean, to be that massive. And what's interesting is right underneath it, this probably was an upgrade, were cables, data cables, some kind. pretty ancient data cables, but a lot of them. You can see here, just a huge bank of cables that came up into this block. It's in here. And that's pretty interesting, pretty weird. And here's part of the door. You see the hinges in here. A number on there, some kind. And it has a cement floor all the way around and held this massive structure that opened on rails. This is the door spring at the back of this. Pretty large. It's all the way over here. And over here we have the motor to the rail, I would assume, and the switch, which still moves nice and got a nice little spring load in it. It goes back to a neutral position. It's pretty cool. That might be fun to take. And then over here, another piece of evidence here. Interesting thing is Butler. His name on the building here. Probably who made this shed. And again, it could have been upgraded. What's more amazing here, I think, is these pipes. You can look in here. Look at this. There are 3 giant data cable pipes. Massive. And down the way here we just found a sign that says cable. And what's interesting is on none of the blueprints there's nothing about any cable. We even have the electrical blueprints. There's no cable mentioned coming over to this building at all, and yet there's 3 pipes of cables coming over to this thing. Somebody had said it was a 50 caliber mount where the shed would open up and they could shoot, but that seems a little off now, because why would you have all these data cables coming into it? It held some kind of instrument more than likely and was opened up and used, and these data cables went somewhere. But again, we don't have a schematic, so we don't know where they went to. We don't know what building they might have gone off to. Here it says cable route, and it's went off, and of course it has a sign. Interestingly enough, if you look here, the sign goes down and then it goes that way. And if we go out that way, that goes to another building. Not that one out there. That one is near the generator. But out here in the field, there was a building, a circle building. It's gone completely, and it was on the maps. But there's no evidence of that being here. And it was actually listed as a disposal pesticide shop, which is a strange thing to have on a base like this. So maybe it wasn't a disposal pesticide shop. I don't think a disposal pesticide shop would be needing that many cables.
In the first part of this video, you saw the shed, the real shed, behind me as I was talking. This is a model that we made to represent how the shed actually worked. Now, as you can see, there are rails down below, and that's the key to what this shed does. It actually opens up, and as we zoom around it, you can see that there was a door on one side, which we showed before, which is like a garage door. It just opened up and then rolled up, allowing the whole shed to move. The shed was 15 by 16 feet. The rails were 30 feet long, so if the shed moved back, it moved back approximately 15 feet. So here we'll see the shed being pulled back, and this would have been through the motors and the chains that would have pulled that shed all the way back. This huge shed that you saw in the photos moved it back so the instrument or whatever was there would not be disturbed. It could stay calibrated. And that instrument or whatever it was set on this cement block, bolted on. There was a black box off to the one side. There were those pipes coming up that went off to someplace else, where either it connected to a radar or a building or something. Now, we saw no indication of any radar down in this area at all. The radar actually would have been the radar dishes that we took pictures of were a quarter mile away, so it's not likely that it would have connected to those. Very interesting piece. Let us know what you think about it.